Well, hello and welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. It's a beautiful Monday morning here. It is Monday the 9th of January. A good morning to you all. If this is the first time you're watching me, I'll just introduce myself briefly. My name's Jenny McCormack and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. Thank you for joining me. You may be watching live, you may be watching on replay, either on Facebook or on YouTube. Either way, if you have any queries or questions, or you want to know a little bit more about how I've created something or about our products, then just pop a message in the comments section or message me directly and I'll be more than happy to help you. So last week, the end of last week, Thursday, my goodness, I featured these fun owls. This is from a stamp set which is a limited edition and available between now and the end of February. And what's exciting is that you can actually get this stamp set for free if you place an order for £45 or more with me, either from today right the way through to the 28th of February. It features, as you can see, 3 cute owls. You've got a flying owl, a little chap with a bow tie, and then one with a little party hat. Morning, Catherine. And we created a card on Thursday, and this was the design that we actually use for coffee and card on Friday, and we'll be using it again this afternoon. This was one of my original cards that I made when I first got the stamp set to welcome an impending new arrival, and that arrival has now arrived. So I have another beautiful great niece, and so this says hoot hoot you're so cute, and I just thought that was a fab little sentiment for a new arrival. And I have layered this using the fitted florets and the framed florets dies. That was my original inspiration. As soon as I saw the owls, that's what I wanted to do with them. So here's the cards that we're making for coffee and card this afternoon. So it just features the cute owl in a circle die that I've already pre-cut. This one says happy birthday. This one says so proud of you. And you can colour these owls in really with any medium you prefer. So if you like watercolour pencils, if you like blends pens, which are alcohol markers, or you could use, as it's a small area, you could use Stampin' Up markers. You could use inks and watercolour, as long as the ink that you use to stamp the original owl is waterproof ink, so something like a StazOn ink, for example. And obviously we need to decorate the envelope, and you can also decorate the inside with another little owl. What I want to show you today, I'll just leave that one there, is how to do a simple aperture card. So an aperture card is where you have a card with an opening in it that is typically central, but it doesn't have to be. It can be a circle, it can be a square, it really can be any shape. And traditionally you might have purchased a card already with an aperture in it, or if you have a die cutting machine, you can pop a die anywhere on your card and create the aperture so that you have a hole through to see what's behind. I'm going to show an easy way to create an aperture card with a punch, and we have lots of different shaped punches in our catalogue. We don't carry many of the large circle punches anymore. Oh, I think they would. Soft petals and a cotton bud, yeah. I think if you were if you kept fairly inside of the lines, so you weren't too close so it blended out, I think it would definitely work. Definitely. You have to give it a go, Catherine, let me know. So we have various punches. Not all of these are still current. This is a 2-inch circle punch. But it's a great way of creating an aperture in your card. So what I'm going to do is effectively recreate this, but instead of having this up on the front, it's actually going to be on the inside, and we're going to have a hole in the front. And what I'm going to do is punch a hole to start with, and then layer some paper on the top, and then punch a hole in that. Sometimes the punches won't go through multiple layers, so it just depends on the thickness of your card. This is one of our note cards and envelopes, and it's quite a thick, substantial card. So I don't want to risk trying to punch that and a layer of paper. So what I'm going to do is punch my hole first. Now I have got a larger one. I'm going to actually try this one first. I need to take my glasses off. Only because the owls are fairly large, especially the one with the party hat. He may not even fit in this one. This is actually a 2 1/4 inch punch. So this is the front of my card. I am going to fold this over so that I can see the centre line. These note cards and envelopes come ready scored for you. So what I'm going to do is bring my punch and centralise it between this edge and this edge here. Okay, now there's been nothing to stop you doing it, for example, on the bottom right hand side, and have it in landscape. You could have it at the bottom right hand side on here, so really anywhere the punch will reach. So I'm just going to place this here, and I'm just getting it just by line of sight, hopefully centrally. It may not be exact. Okay, so that becomes our aperture. Now what we want to do is put some paper on top of that. So I've selected, these are brand new papers out of the new catalogue, and they are called, I want to say Regency Park, but I can't see, oh there they are, there's my packet there, and I was right, Regency Park. So these are 6x6 papers. They coordinate with 2 fantastic stamp sets, and also a punch. So I'm just going to flip through these just to show you. So they're floral on one side, but they're patterned on another, and there's some lovely bright fun colours in here. So they're all, these sides are nearly all floral, like so. There's that one with the green backing, and there's lots of different colours in here, so it makes it a really good choice. I love that. And this one here, this one, and that one there. So that's the floral sides. But what I'm looking at is the reverse of these. Hi Carol, hi Alison, I hope you're both well. So the reverse of these have lots of dots and small flowers, which I think is perfect. So you don't want it too busy, otherwise you're going to take away from your image. So we've got some larger dots here, smaller ones, like a cane weave, stripes, lots of little dots, almost like a fabric look, like a denim. There's the cane. These are just such pretty papers. Mango Melody and stripes. So now to choose which one I'm going to use. I think I might go for this one here. And then tie that in with some of the colours, we'll see. So I'm not going to cut this and try and work out where the hole is going to go. What I'm going to do is adhere this onto the front and then position my punch so that I can punch this piece out again. So I'm going to stick this down and then bring my punch back in, using that outline to punch my aperture. If you're using fairly thin papers, oh yes, they would work. Ooh, well, now there's a thought, Catherine. Okay. Catherine's quite right. So we have some lovely gingham papers. Oh, I might change my mind now. I'm no good, am I? So these are the gingham papers, and there's assorted styles of gingham and assorted colours as well. So you've got the fine gingham. That's okay, I'll let you off. Yeah, they would definitely work with that, but no, I'm going to stick to that one, I think. Who knows? Okay, so what I'm going to do is cut this size first, and this when I cut this will measure, I'm afraid this is in inches because the cards are cut in inches. So I would normally cut this to 3 1/4, which is about 8.35. So I would cut this 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, which is 12.1. There we go. Let's press that on there. So what I'm going to do is attach this, and I'm going to do this 2 ways. I'm going to put some glue around the outside, and then I'm going to put some glue around the aperture. What I don't want to do is put glue all the way over here and stick it on here, and then there's glue on this surface, because then when I put my punch in, you can get glue on the inside of the punch, and you really don't want to do that if you can help it. So let's grab some glue. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend. As I say, it's beautiful here, but the weather is forecast to rain, I think, for almost the rest of the week. Well, that's what it says at the minute. So I'm just applying some wet glue. This will just give me a little bit of manoeuvrability on the edge, but not right on the edge, like so. Put a little bit on here, and then I'm just going to put a small amount here, and this will stop, this will make sure obviously that the coloured layer is well attached. So just swapping it round the edge, not too much, I don't really want it to squish out everywhere. There we go. Okay, so I think I'm going to open this up, make it a little bit easier for myself, and just centralise this like so. Almost like a sort of space theme, isn't it? Okay, so this is, I'm not sure, it's Starlight. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong sheet. Let's have a look. It is Night of Navy and Balmy Blue. So Night of Navy backing, and then the Balmy Blue with the tiny little dots in there. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I've got that layer on there, And here's my aperture, so there's no glue there that's going to get it in the way. So all I'm going to do now is bring my punch back down, just centralise it again, like so. And so now you're just punching through the paper layer. Oh, so just goes to show that if you don't get it quite straight, oh, I've used the wrong punch, that's why. I'm trying to work out why that was smaller. Okay, let's try again. So use the same sign punch. Just going to turn this over. Okay. Caught the edge of the paper a little bit there. And I have just jammed that in my punch nicely. So best laid plans, eh? And that's the reason that's happened, is because I punched a smaller area. There was this tiniest bit here, and this bit has folded into the edge of the punch. So the way to get that out is to bang the punch to release it. So I'm just going to cover the microphone for a second. And let's see if I can release it out. You really want to do it on a floor. Okay, so best laid plans is how not to do it. Oh, I'm glad it happened to me. Okay, it's not going to play the game. So if this happens to you, ideally the best thing to do is pop this in the fridge or freezer just for a short while, and that will help the metal to shrink, and then normally it will release. And as I say, that's because I had just a very small amount on the edge, and it wasn't enough for it to cut through, and it's folded it on the side. I don't want to keep banging it against you, so no. Okay, so let's try that whole thing again, and I'm just going to use a smaller punch. Bless. You couldn't write it, could you really? Okay, so I'm going to use a different piece of paper because let's just use this one here. Oh dear. Right, let's cut this again. So 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 inches. Okay, right, so we're now just going to use the smaller punch to create my aperture. Okay, so I'm just positioning that there, keeping it central like so. And don't forget to keep these, because you can use these as other cut layers for images. And we'll do the same thing again. Let's hope this time that I get it right. So I should have known, shouldn't I, when I saw that. Okay, no worries. Right, so that's around the edge and at the bottom, and just a layer of glue around this aperture. So good morning to anybody else who's joined us. Okay, so I'm going to pop this on centrally like that. Hi Minda. So that's our inside aperture. So now we're going to take the same punch again and line it up over the aperture that we had. Now if you can put your punch right the way in, you'll find that a lot easier for lining up. Okay, so we're just going through the paper this time, and that's what should have happened the first time round. Oh dear. Okay, so you could use the piece that's come out to put on the inside, or you can just stamp through it. If you're not confident about stamping through there, you could just do a little pencil line and stamp on the inside, or you could put this in, but you really want to make sure it's in the right position. So I'm just going to do a little pencil line like so. Right, let's clear the decks a little bit here, and then grab one of our owls to fit in there. Yes, so as I say, it's good if you can hit it on don't drop it from a height, but if you can hit it onto something really hard like concrete, it's good, but just pop it in the freezer, just for a short while, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and it should contract the metal, and then it should release. You might still need to bang it a little bit. Right, let's find our owls, which I've now just hidden. And see which one is going to fit in there. So we've got this little chappy here. He will definitely fit. The flying one will also fit. But the one with the party hat would fit like that, and then your party hat would be sticking up. It's very close to the top, so I'm going to choose one of these two. Any preference for the flying one or the one with the bow tie? Shout now while I'm looking for my blocks. Morning, Jill. Oh, hi, Nick. I'm so glad you made it. I hope you're well. Happy New Year to you. I don't know how you say that in Irish. Perhaps you could put me right. The flying one. Yeah, sort of flying in to say hi, isn't he? So sorry to hear you're poorly, Jill. There's so much of it around, isn't there? So I've created my aperture, albeit with a little bit of excitement. If you want to watch how not to do it, go and watch the replay afterwards. And we're going to position our owl in there. I'm going to ink him up, or her up, with early espresso ink. Oh good, I'm glad we're agreeing on the flying one. And then I'm going to stamp it in here. There we go. Hopefully that's mostly in the aperture. Yes. Is cute. So I drew a pencil line down there. You could pop that on temporarily like that and draw around it. That'd be another way to do it, or you could stamp on this piece and then put it through afterwards. Entirely up to you. Okay, let's pop that away for the minute, and I'm just going to colour this in really quickly. So if you watched my live or the replay on Thursday, you'll see how I coloured in the different owls. I'm just going to use dark and light crumb cake. I've got a brand new dark crumb cake. I need to order some more, I think. I'm just going to use a little bit of orange for his beak, although the beaks are probably not orange at all. Some of them are sort of yellow, aren't they? There's that. And then, because I've got a nice deep blue on the outside, I'm actually going to do some blue around the eyes. I've got Night of Navy, and it goes around the black of the eye. And the Stampin' Up designers are very clever in adding that little white dot that makes the eyes look really realistic, because not realistic, but you know what I mean, because you've got the light. It looks like the light is shining onto the eye. Hopefully you can see that, like so. Cute. I'm just going to colour in. Now on this one I did this on the piece and then attached it. So by colouring in on the back, some of the colour will go through onto the back side. That doesn't worry me particularly. If it worried you, then I would stamp onto the spare piece and position it on the top. You could put a piece like that on the back. Actually, you could do that and put a handmade by on the back of it. So that would be a way to cover it up. So I'm just going to use a little bit of dark and light crumb cake. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh dear, Jill. That's not good, is it? As I say, there's just so much of it about. Okay, so I'm using the fine tip here. Just bringing this in. Nick, I wonder if your post has arrived with your little goodie pack. So Nick, along with Jill, are in our team, and we have a creative challenge that any of the team members can join in, and I send them a little bag of goodies and then challenge them to create something from it. I'm hoping if it's not there, it'll be, thank you Carol, if it's not there yet, it'll be there soon. So just using a little darker bit around those edges and where the shadow would be here and here, just with a scribbling motion. I'm not doing anything particularly clever. You could put a little bit of pink on the inside of the ears if you wanted to. Let's see what I've got, a little bit of petal pink. Not that you'll be able to see it, it's such a small area. And then I'm going to use our light crumb cake just to go over this area here and just avoiding the eye. You can make these panels here lighter. You can change the colour of those if you want to, and if you haven't got browns, then you can certainly use grey or a combination. So just really quickly colouring that in. Go. And then his body. You could do a little bit of pink for this bit in the middle if you wanted to, so it's a little bit more pinky. So I'm using the broader tip just because I've got a bigger area to work with. So yours all went off at the same time as the others, but I know obviously your post takes longer to get to you. I will check on the tracking actually to see where it's got to. Okay, so just going to blend that in a little bit, and because they're alcohol markers you can go over the same area and it won't pill the paper. There we go. There's our cute little owl. So there he is. So I'm going to have a little sentiment on the front and then one on the inside. Okay, and obviously with your envelope you can have your little owl flying in from the side. Let's just do that quickly. I won't tell Lynn good morning to you. So let's just pop this owl coming in here, like so. And you could colour that in as well. I'm not going to colour that in to save you some time. So let's put a sentiment on the front. So this is another new stamp set called Best Family Ever, and it has all the family names. Well, most of them, not every single combination, but it's got some nice sentiments that go with it. So this happy birthday that I've used here comes from that set. So we've got happy birthday, thanks, wonderful, you're in my thoughts, and you can have from your mum, from your wife, from your friend, to my friend, whatever. So let's have a happy birthday. So I'm going to pop that on a die cut piece to start with. So I hope everybody had a nice weekend, for those that I haven't caught up with, and Happy New Year to you. Hi Fran. Okay, so we're doing a simple aperture card using a punch, and although I use a circle punch, you could use any shape. So if you've got some interesting shaped punches, it would be a good way to use those. So that's my happy birthday going in there, and then let's pop a sentiment here. Now I know where that circle is, so I want to come below that circle so the other sentiment is hidden. So let's do happy birthday. I'll do nephew. I'm sure I'll have some nephew birthdays coming up soon. That owl is cute, isn't it, Fran? So cute. And I know not everybody likes cute stamps. Right. So here's nephew. Just going to stamp this at the bottom because I haven't used that stamp yet. And so I'm going to pop that below the owl like that. Okay, let's tuck that away. Yeah, cute and realistic, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Okay, let's pop this sentiment on the front. And then that's all that's left for me to do, is decide if I want to put something on that back. So you could do it at a jaunty angle. I'm just going to do it part the way down, like so. And then you can see here where it's come through on the back, which I was talking about before, because we stamped it and coloured it in on the card. So I'm just going to put this piece on the back, and what you could do with that stamp set is you could add from your aunt if you wanted to. You could also use Stampin' Up logo or created by. I'm just going to stick this down for the moment, and then I will dig out my hand stamped sentiment and put that on the back. What you could also do is stamp onto the circle that you've cut out and pop that on dimensionals so that it pops up when the card is closed. Now the best way to do that is actually have a slightly bigger aperture and a slightly smaller circle. So I could use my 2¼ inch punch for that, and then stamped him onto a smaller element. But there we go, there's our finished card. I hope you like that. This is one from earlier. So I'll grab out my rubber in a second and just remove that pencil line, but I just think that's really sweet. You could put the nephew on the front and the happy birthday inside if you wanted to. I must remember that's got nephew on it though. Make sure I don't send it to somebody else. So there we go. Thank you so much. I will release my punch. If you want to see how not to do it, then watch the replay in the first sort of 4 minutes. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. We're at Coffee and Card this afternoon in Toaster, and we'll be making this card. I do have some experienced people there, so I might take the punches along for them to do that version if they wish. And we have some new people joining us, and so that would be perfect for them. So thank you so much. I will be back tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. But I'm also going to be doing a live for the new catalogue. Hi Isabel, thanks for joining us. And I will probably do that in the morning tomorrow, and then the live crafting in the evening, which is when I normally do it on a Tuesday. So I'll be able to talk about Celebration with a great joining offer. I think one of the best actually I've ever seen. And that's £170 of product for £99. So if you're interested in joining our team, we're very active at the minute. We have a birthday club, we have a challenge, we have online meetings. So if that's of interest and you want to get together with other crafters and be inspired, then do please just message me and we can have just an informal chat and I can explain what's involved. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day. If you watched on catch up, I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching and where you're watching from. Thank you so much. Do take care and look after yourselves, your loved ones, and I hope you can keep crafting. Bye for now.